I'm coming at you from outside NAMM 2025 with the hard-hitting journalism that nobody wants or needs. When should you change your guitar strings? It's time to Ask NAMM.
The NAMM Show is a music convention based in Anaheim, California, every year in January. Think of it like Comic-Con for musicians. A few months ago, I posted a video where I mentioned that I hadn't changed my strings in 3 months, and it sparked quite the discussion in the comment section. So, I decided to take advantage of the fact that I would be in close proximity to thousands of guitarists and see if I could get to the bottom of the string change debate.
All right, we're here with Jesse and Jamie. Jamie's from Super Cool Pedals, Jesse's from Cosmodio Instruments. And we're gonna go ahead and ask them the question, how often should you change your guitar strings?
I change them whenever I break a string. And I know it's like you're supposed to have fresh strings on your guitar, but I like to let them live as long as they want to live. When one string breaks, I change them all.
Excellent.
Yeah, pretty much the same thing. I like doing a lot of alternate tunings, so kind of when one string breaks under the tension of trying to go 2 octaves up, it's probably time to just change the whole set.
Excellent. All right, I'm here with Eli from String Joy. Eli, how often should you change your strings?
Officially, you should change them every single day, and you should buy a set of String Joys to do it. Personally, I do it maybe every 3 weeks or so.
I'm here with Wick, and we're gonna ask him our question, how often should you change your guitar strings?
I got a second to think about this, and I'm sticking with it. It depends on what you do for a living. I was on a train recently playing guitar. I broke a string about every day, so I needed to change it, And I think once a month is a safe one. If you're playing 5 days a week, you might need to do it every 2 weeks.
I like it.
Yeah.
All right, so I'm here with Mark from Summer School Electronics and Bill from Acorn Amps. The question today is, how often should you change your guitar strings? We'll start with Bill.
On bass, never.
I change it when the high E string starts to feel rusty.
I'm here with Mitch, and we're gonna ask him, when should you change your guitar strings?
You should change your guitar strings as soon as you can start to feel some gunk build up on it, or if you hit that open E string and you don't hear it ring nice and clear.
I'm here with Mike from Taylor Guitars. How's it going, Mike?
Doing well, doing well.
How often should you change strings on your guitar?
As often as you need to.
Wonderful.
After I got tired of yelling my questions to people, I decided to leave the main floor and see if I could get some more consistent answers in a less migraine-inducing environment.
Tell me, Lee, when should you change your guitar strings?
This depends, in my opinion. From an ex-professional touring musician, I used to change my strings every 3 gigs, but it also depends on whether they're wound or not.
Okay.
So that's just me. But if you're just sitting at home, I reckon once every month.
Once a month. Once a month, wonderful.
My theory is when you're playing live and you're thrashing it out, your strings get like really hammered.
Sure.
So every 3 gigs, it's a sweet spot for me, Matt.
I like it. Matt, how often should you change your guitar strings?
Before they break.
Before they break, excellent.
How
Jim,
are you?
How often should you change guitar strings?
I think you should change guitar strings after every gig.
Every gig, excellent.
After every gig. Then you're ready for the next gig. Just got to tune it up.
I like it. All right, I'm here with Tim, and we're gonna ask, how often should you change your guitar strings, Tim?
I mean, logically, maybe once per month.
Once per month.
I'm not doing it, but
neither am I.
but once per month,
yeah.
I think.
How often should you change your guitar strings?
Well, I think it depends on what style of music you play and how often you play.
I like it.
Because if you're jamming those strings and you're playing every single day, I would say probably at least once a week.
Okay.
You hear about people like Slash, or like, oh, his guitar tech, he changes strings during each show.
Yeah.
So he could play the same guitar on 2 sets of strings in one show.
Yeah. Okay.
So there's people like that. There's people that are like, the older the better. It's the soul of the strings, but I say about once a week.
I like it. Okay,
Well,
I'm here with Lauren, and the question from today is, how often should you change your guitar strings?
As soon as they're dead.
Love it. I'm here with Jesse, and we're gonna ask him our question, how often should you change your guitar strings?
I change my guitar strings whenever one breaks, change the whole set.
Like it. All right, so here we're with Chris and G.
We're with a band called Stoke Signals.
Question of today is, how often should you change your guitar strings? We'll start with Chris.
I go once a month.
Once a month, G?
Okay, so once a month sounds good to me. Realistically, I probably do it once every 3 months.
Okay, right on.
And but like I really don't have a problem with like breaking strings.
Mm-hmm.
So,
yeah,
maybe if they broke more often, I'd start like adjusting. But
Totally.
You know, for sure. I did 3 months.
I'm Mike
Oh,
from
this
Stoke
is
Signals.
Mike, okay.
I play drums, and all I know is, wasn't there a show where you broke a string?
There was a
Live,
show
and you
where
had to
I
change
broke,
it?
of all strings, the low E string.
Dude, I think you're getting called out.
I
on
do,
camera
for sure.
by your
And I was
bandmate.
hoping no one would remember that.
All right, we got Nathan here.
Usually, I change them just when they break.
When they break, I like it.
That's how you get the most use out of them.
Excellent. Felipe?
Felipe.
And Tom?
We're here with Ensemble Music.
Ensemble music,
Yeah.
excellent. Question is, when should you change your guitar strings?
If you're like me and you play never, 6 months.
6
But
months.
if you're like me and you play often, just as soon as you start noticing some crud.
I like it. What about you, man?
Nah, the tone is in the cheese, man.
Tone is in the cheese. Excellent.
Yeah.
Excellent. All right, I'm here with Steve from Summer School Electronics. How often should you change your guitar strings?
Never. All of my strings on all of my instruments are currently rusting off, and I still play them despite the fear of getting tetanus.
We're with Kevin.
Nope,
and-
Dr. Sladova Pravosnik, and this is
Excellent.
Schnarby D. Beamel.
Love it.
Excellent.
All right,
All right, so you should change your strings before practice. No, that's a kidding.
Okay.
At least before anytime you go in the studio.
Before
and
any
anytime you
recording.
play live.
Any recording.
Anytime you play live, he's absolutely on point. And then if they're getting, if they start feeling like wet, stinky underwear, you got to change them.
What's the longest you can go? Let's say. Not playing too much.
I just went 6 months on one of my guitars, and I felt
Okay.
horrible about it. But yeah, it was
So,
terrible. It
6
made me not want to
months-
play.
6 months max. You can't do more than that.
All right.
That's
Who am I here with?
Renee Benton,
Renee Benson. Renee, how often should you change strings on your guitar?
when they pop.
When they pop.
When they pop.
All right, I'm here with Isaac. Isaac, how often should you change your guitar strings?
It's a good question. I'd say if it's electric guitar, every 2 weeks. If you play as much as I do, which is every day.
Love it.
Yeah.
Excellent. For acoustic?
That's a really good question. Acoustic, I'd say it depends on the tone, right?
Yeah.
Tone is like, if you want that like muted sound, I'd give it, you could do a year, man. I've done a year.
For sure.
But if you're like a session guitarist, I'd say like every month. Yeah, every month.
Cool. Who am I here with?
You're here with John Sengun.
John.
Yes.
When should you change guitar strings?
Well, actually, when you feel like it.
I like it.
Okay? Because it's like something very close. It's something like a relationship with you and your guitar and your neck, obviously, in the strings. So if you feel that, your bending is bad or the tone has gone and that brightness, you've lost it. Some people like it, by the way.
Yeah.
And it suits some music.
Sure.
But other than that, I don't think every week or every 3 weeks, or every 6 months. Whoever says something, it's due to their own relations with the instrument, I believe.
Sure.
Yeah.
All right, I'm here with Doug. How you doing, Doug?
I'm good, man. How are you?
Wonderful. How often should you change your guitar strings?
Well, it depends. I know some people that only change them when they break.
Okay.
Right? I used to change strings every third gig.
Okay.
And now I'm kind of in between. It depends how much you're playing, but I would say every third gig.
I like it.
My name's Reese. I play guitar. I'm 16 years old from Brisbane, Australia.
Wonderful.
And when should you change your strings? You don't want to be spending lots of money. So I think the easy, simple answer is when one of them breaks.
When one of them breaks, excellent. All righty. Who am I here
Hey
with?
there. My name's Hunter.
Hunter, how often should you change your guitar strings?
I have owed my acoustic guitar a new set of strings for probably 6 months.
Okay.
My electric guitars get a lot more love with once every 2 months, and I'm playing that every weekend somewhere.
Who am I here with?
Paul Melanton, producer out of LA.
Nice. Nice to meet you, Paul. Paul, how often should you change your guitar strings?
Never.
Okay, I'm here with Christopher.
Christopher Watson, that's me.
Excellent. Chris, how often should you change your guitar strings?
When they feel bad, and or how much you play. Definitely before a show.
Okay.
But at least 2 to 3 days before. If you play your guitar often, every other day, or then you should probably change them every 2 months.
I like it.
I
Okay.
would say that, yeah.
Who am I here with?
I'm Vinny.
Vinny, how often should you change your guitar strings?
I think you should do it once a month if you could do it yourself.
Love it. Tom, how often should you change your guitar strings?
Whenever you think it's out of tune. How about that simple?
I like it. Alrighty, what's your name, man?
Hawata.
Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you.
How often should you change your guitar strings?
Every month?
Well, my name is Dave Toscano, Dave Toscane, and I think you should change your strings
If you use elixir strings, every 6 months. But if you use something like, I don't want to say any brands, but bro, if your hands sweat a lot, man, and you play daily, I will say once a week. But if not, I will say, like me, I'm a worship player, you know? I play every Sunday and every Wednesday, and I'm constantly playing. I will say for me, I use Elixir maybe every 3 months. But any other brand, I will say every month.
Love it.
Yeah.
Excellent.
Yeah, thank you, bro.
Michelle and Amy Taylor, how often should you change your guitar strings?
When you remember to.
When you remember to.
When they break.
When they break.
When you play a lot.
When you play a lot.
And maybe they don't sound like the dirt. You should wash your hands.
That's probably a better solution.
Wash your
honestly.
hands.
I think when you pick up your guitar, your bass, and it feels kind of funky and you strum it, it's like doink, boink, ink, and then the strings are kind of like, oh, they're not sliding, they're a little wanky, there might be a little gritty and stuff, and it just, in that love is not there. It's not, it's more like, then you go, maybe it's time for some new strings.
I like it. Wonderful.
It appears that sadly there is no sense of concurrence as to when guitarists change their strings. There is, however, one thing that almost everyone seemed to agree on.
How often should you change your bass strings?
My bass strings often get ignored. I have broken a bass string, and then I replaced all the strings, and that's the last time I did it, and that was a couple years ago.
First off, I didn't know you could break bass strings, but second, I didn't even know you could change bass strings at all, man.
If it were me, probably never.
Never and a half.
Never. I don't know bassists who've changed their strings once every 2-3 months, which I think is just a waste of money.
Let it ride until it breaks.
Never. Always.
Always.
Never.
Never.
I've never changed mine.
Oh, never.
Never?
Never ever. Play it until it falls off.
Never.
Never.
Change your bass strings.
All right.
Never.
Never. All right.
I have a bass that I bought in 1982.
Okay.
And I've changed strings once.
How
Any
often
single
should
one
you
of them.
change bass strings?
Bass strings?
Yeah.
I've never heard of anyone doing that before.
Never.
Oh man, never if you can help it.
I think I've had the same bass strings for like 8 years.
Yeah, I think we all have, honestly.
Right.
You can change bass strings?
Yeah, that's the real question here, you know? I thought it was okay.
I gotta go home and try that. That's amazing.
Well, the information is no clearer now than it was when I started this. Thanks for learning nothing with me. Like and subscribe. We'll see you around.
Absolutely, I do. And by the way, I have a new record out. It's called To Live in Omaha, Live in Omaha. It's on Floodgate, MTS, Virgin Universal Music Group. Check that out. It's To Live in Omaha, Live in Omaha.
What was your company again?
CameraRadio.org.
Okay.
It's a low-power FM listener-sponsored radio station.
Love it.
And Amy Taylor Music.
Amy Taylor Music. There's a lot of Amy Taylor, so you got to put in music, and I got a couple of songs on the interweb. Tow Truck Jesus, 20 Miles of March, a road trip song. Everybody's got a story on a road trip.
Totally.
So.